Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. Ben and Alonso, the last two episodes, parts 5 and 6 of Show Me a Hero, did not disappoint.
No, they promised us a tragedy, and
yeah, and it's just sort of you start that there's a moment, I don't know, a certain number of minutes into that final episode. Maybe it's when he's losing it at City Hall, screaming at everybody, where you're like, oh no,
this is not going to end well.
Oh no, and of course he had the gun in the ankle has to matter. Right. You know, and then it was just this really profound sense of anxiety the rest of the way. You know, and she's like, you know, I got to go back to work. He's like, no, spend the day with him. Spend the day with him.
God, I mean, when he's going door to door in the projects, wanting somebody to tell him something nice.
Yeah, that's right.
His that need for validation is so palpable and just sad.
Yeah, and to watch, you know, and that wonderful scene of him watching the lottery, which nobody told him about.
Right.
You know, and no one is there. You know, at first he's like, oh, I'm great. They're excited, but they're not thanking him. Nobody knows why this strange white man is there in the back, and when those 5 people get their keys, and he's literally has 2 empty seats next to him.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, it's tough, man. It was just right to sort of, as real need for validation when he's totally getting it, of course, from the person who's supposed to matter much. But
right.
Most,
and that he's totally, he is so willing to jeopardize his marriage, throw his friends under the bus for just that one last bit of getting back into things.
I mean, he literally says it when when he starts doing the machinations with the parking guy.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know, why are you doing this? And why, you know, and he goes, to show him I'm still here.
Right.
Right.
Oh,
I'm here.
That moment on election night when the newly elected mayor just walks past him, it's like, oh God, he's going to be carrying that around forever, and he does.
Right. And so it turns out, of course, all those things that Winona Ryder said in the first episode.
Yes, totally. Come back and haunt him.
Yeah, they were really about him. You know, she figured it out.
She bounced back. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
She figured it out. And of course, what he should have done is not run for re-election and spent 2 years working up a campaign to run for mayor.
Exactly.
Sat out that election.
Well, it was 4 years because they had changed.
Right. No, but I mean, he won the 2nd district race. Then when he got redistricted and he couldn't win, sit out that election.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Don't run and then go after the mayor or go teach legal
criminal
history
law or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The Mary arc, I thought, was really fascinating.
Yeah, it was good because it wasn't. It was genuine because they did such a nice job of having, even though she was super angry in the beginning.
Yeah.
There was thoughtfulness to her anger, and it wasn't the same. And they throw in that nice moment where she says, you know, when she says to the anti-Semite,
Oh, Jack.
I don't know, no, like some guy in line, like, I don't think this is really about religion.
Oh,
You know,
right.
like,
Oh, early
Jews.
on. Yeah.
And she's like, she has a moment of, look, I don't want this to happen, but who am I in line with?
Right.
Who are these people? Who are my colleagues?
Well, and which, you know, I maintain that there are still thoughtful people who are members of the Republican Party for various reasons.
Yeah,
who must watch the Trump thing and think, oh my God, is this is the face of the party right now? You know, every time Michelle Bachmann opens her mouth, you know they're dying inside.
Yeah, because I honestly don't think there are that many thoughtful people who pay close attention. I think there are a lot of thoughtful Republicans who don't pay super close attention to what's happening politically, as there are thoughtful people who don't. They got others.
Sure, yeah.
You got kids, you got a life, you got
Totally.
play softball, you like movies, whatever, 100 valid reasons. But yeah, I hear you. So she didn't, you know, she thought.
Like, am I on this side?
Right,
You know?
I'm on this side. And then you have a moment of, because she's a conscious person, of like, no, I'm on the other side.
Yeah.
Like not only am I going to back off what I was saying, I'm going to say the other thing.
Well, and even that, it's not like, you know, if not A, then B, because there's the process of sort of pulling away from that aspect of the anti-forces, but then the slow acclimation to realizing, oh, these are human beings. These are people who, you know, put out the good china for guests and will give me the cup that doesn't have the crack in it. You know, all that, just bit by bit that she can put faces on these people. And that's so much of what any political movement is about, whether it's about, you know, civil rights for blacks or for gays or whatever. When you can turn this amorphous other, them, they into, you know, Ed and, you know, Sheila, that becomes something different.
I mean, it's so dumb, but people who put pictures of their family up on their wall. Like, no shit. But yes, but that has an effect. So, but it is for her, if not A, then B. It's just that if not A, then eventually, with time and some thoughtfulness.
Exactly, yeah. Right, she drifts into B,
She drifts into B. And so, she's such a wonderful, wonderful actress. Yeah. That was great. That whole thing was great. And Clark Peters from The Wire, so terrific. And there's PR done for good. He's still cynical. He's still manipulative, but at least it was
on the side of the angels.
At least it was for something valuable, right? And even things like they're not going to get to know these people. Even that little could have been it wasn't the best line, but even that moment where they say, they're not going to get to know these people in one quick visit, and he's like, they're going to get to know themselves. It's not about these white people coming in and helping these black people. It's about these white people coming in and realizing, oh wait, everybody. I'm a human, and I can react in a human way to these other people.
And I got to say, it might have been a little heavy-handed or something in somebody else's handling of it. I thought the poodle lady moment was nice.
So do I. Sure. Because again, it's like. Again, it's about once you have the interaction. It turns out. I mean, we for some time I was convinced our neighbor hated us, right? And then Lee talked to him. He doesn't. It's not. That's not going on.
Yeah, it's very easy to sort of read intention into other people.
And also, especially in that situation where the poodle lady is being told by her community, this is bad, this is terrible, it's going to hurt our housing values, it's going to bring all these terrible things we don't want to our neighborhood. And so there's this natural division that's thrown up, like we don't talk to them.
Right.
And then a 5-year-old boy who likes dogs starts talking, and she's like, well, my 5-year-old son likes dogs too. Again, it's incredibly dumb in a sense not to have recognized this.
No, and part of me just kept thinking, have a block party, have a barbecue and surely there's some way to get these people together, but I'm naive maybe. But yeah, I know, I have heard you, Twitter, I need to watch The Wire. I know I need to watch The Wire. But I really just, at the end of this, I thought, why don't we see more stories like this?
Yeah, well, I guess there aren't enough, it's not tackled. There are only a few writers, show creators who do this effectively. David Simon
being one of them.
Is one of them, clearly, that sort of in The Wire, there is a humanity to characters in The Wire that normally don't have it on screen. And again, you feel like a moron for thinking it, but it turns out they also love their mom and they worry about their kids and all these things that are patently obvious. And then just merely in doing that, it makes the weaknesses and foibles of the people who are normally portrayed on television heroically seem more meaningful. Like, you see, well, God, his drinking isn't just that he drinks too much, but he's kind of a fun drunk and he's a rascal and we like him. No, his drinking has serious, terrible repercussions for the people he polices and his family, and he's bad. This is a bad guy.
Well, and the way that this plays out kind of, it reminds you why, when a totalitarian government comes in, the first thing they do is have somebody who's the other, whether it's the Jews or the Chechens or whatever, and then part of that is to paint that swath of people as they don't love their mothers and they don't care about their houses and get it out. And so you see how the opposite works. I love the moment where the new residents have to take that humiliating orientation class, and finally they're like, where are the neighbors? Do they have to take a class to learn about living with us?
Right. But then Clark Peters has a pretty good speech about no, this is do you want this to be different? I got it. You're right. Everything you're saying is right. She came here for a freaking reason.
Sure.
Couple of great moments that I thought that the woman who ended up getting one of the houses complaining to Doreen when she's trying to.
Oh yeah, but the daycare. My closet door won't close.
Closet door won't the tub doesn't drain. You're like, because that is the proof of all politics is local. You think her politics is local, but no, it can get more local. It can go inside that woman's apartment. It's her tub.
Yeah, the projects is not local enough. It's 804.
It's 804. It's the bathroom in 804. That's how local it can get. And then a wonderful scene between Peter Riegert when Clark Peters first meets him and has that great line.
Some of them.
Yeah, most. Yeah, I really like most of what you've done. And then he's like, most.
ghost.
And then the other guy has the great speech to him, like, maybe you're not, but your buildings are great, but we care more about the people going into them. You're not maybe the best people person. And he's like, that's fair. Yeah.
I'll buy that.
All right, that seems like. But yeah, I mean, I learned a lot in this show, a lot about sort of, and it was a great show about government. And Winona Ryder came back she started strong, and then she vanished, and then she came back with a vengeance.
Yeah. And it definitely, I think it's instructive to kind of figure out how the narrative as it plays out in the media, and this isn't necessarily the media's fault. This is just what's presented to them and what they then run with, does not necessarily match the truth. I mean, I think that it's a lot more complicated, the relationships in politics and we're going to back this guy and not that guy, and we're going to push this agenda and not that agenda, and what that's really about and where that's really coming from. It doesn't necessarily hew to the packaged version that is then passed along to the public.
Yeah, it takes time, and you got to, if you want to understand politics, you have to read politics. You have to pay attention, and
Right.
the worst part is if you pay attention a little, you may be worse off than if you didn't pay any attention, because the minimal attention that has you check in on cable news networks is going to give you a terribly skewed and ultimately unfair pieces of information, which you are going to decide, no, I checked in, I'm up on this.
Right.
Right. And you're going to become entrenched in nonsense. Obviously, before we conclude, I mean, first of all, I don't know that we mentioned Carla Quevedo much, but she was great.
She was, yeah.
I mean, so good at the end, and then the funeral, and I'm so pleased that she got remarried, but she's described there as Nye Wasitko, whatever her new last. So she kept the name, which is nice, and they didn't have kids, so she didn't have to keep that name.
True.
But she did, so that was sweet.
Still works for the city of Yonkers.
Still works for Yonkers. And her forgiveness of him, I mean, of course, what he did to her was terrible, right? I mean, he's ignoring her concerns.
Do we think that he did cheat on her?
No, I don't, based on mostly, I think that was just.
That was okay. That was my impression
because his
too.
reaction was not the TV reaction of when you named the hotel.
Yeah.
It was like the hotel in Albany.
Yeah, what?
The one I stay at. Yeah,
And then you have like that pained expression that Winona Ryder has at the funeral. Obviously where she regrets that moment.
Yeah, you'd regret it anyway. I think, true or not, but no. Either way. I mean, obviously, if he did, it's a big deal. But there was certainly, I mean, nobody mattered to him, and nothing was.
Right.
Important there, and I don't know, and I think Nye figured that out too. And then we have to, of course, say that was just, winning an Emmy in a miniseries, whatever. I don't know how many there are, and that's not a memorable win in general. It's not what people talk about the next day after the Emmys. But he's as good as it gets right now. He's phenomenal, Oscar Isaac. I mean, he was just, start to finish.
So great.
And talking about how great everybody else is, we can't forget that.
No, the center of all this, just the slow dissolution of this guy, especially over these last two episodes, was extraordinary to watch. And fucking Paul Haggis, I still hate Crash, but damn, he was on point with this one.
I mean, I hate Crash because it won Best Picture. If people thought Crash
I hated Crash before it won.
I didn't like it at all when it came out, but we wouldn't still be talking about it if people thought it was the 26th best movie of the year, right? We'd have let it go, right? It would just be a movie that
it'd be a blip, yeah.
It'd be a blip, but it would be a movie that had 18 minutes of good stuff in an overhanded after-school special. What's her name? Ilfenish Hadera.
Oh, God, yes.
Carmen. She was unbelievable.
LaTanya Richardson.
Richardson and Natalie Paul, Doreen, who became sort of this really almost the most important of the tenants, I think, in some characters.
And fucking John.
Oh, John, I mean...
Billy's husband, or Billy's
John Santos.
baby daddy. Yeah, fuck that guy.
Oh, that guy's a killer.
God.
Yeah, but he was, and Billy seeing her, and again, there isn't a happy story. Like she hung around for 2 years, but then she had to go back. Like there's an injustice to it. Of course, what a great speech from Doreen. Hey, look, man, we lie. We lie because we put us in a situation where truth-telling is not advantageous.
Right.
So like my sister lives here. So, and I mean, how great there were so many sweet moments. That moment when her sister comes in and says, I got it. You're fine. I know your mom and dad don't trust you yet, but come live with me.
Yeah.
Like you can't live at home. And then so that she naturally gets this nice place and is like, well, now you come live with me because now I got the better place.
And I love when Norma signs Billy's petition and talks about how it's more important than voting. I was like, oh God, God, this was great. I could totally watch all 6 hours of this again.
Totally, unquestionably could. I suspect there's really, really interesting stuff. And as a longtime political junkie, I'm sorry my dad wasn't alive for this. He would have loved this show. But just the way the Yonkers City Council worked and the way they advanced the story, the way they told us we've moved from a 2-year mayor to a 4-year and a strong mayor system, like they didn't...
In the dialogue.
In the dialogue without having to tell us and stop and explain. It was all really good. And for a while I was like, wait, what's he running for? What's happening? But it doesn't matter. You can't. Anyway, it was really great, really terrific. And if you haven't seen it, watch it. Watch it with a friend. It's great stuff and just a terrible ending. You didn't know, right?
I had no idea.
I didn't know either. I'm amazed.
When we finally found out what that opening scene meant, it was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. And I thought, of course, when the maintenance guy showed up, that maybe that was going to snap him out of it, but no. All right, good stuff. Thanks, everybody.